Welcome everybody to TacosandGeeks.com. This is a special pod episode. We're going to be talking all things wrestling, all the latest news, some money in the bank predictions, and me and Jarrell are going to be announcing the UWL later. So we'll talk a little bit about that for you WWE 2K fans, and we'll go a little detail of that at the end. But we have a lot to talk about. So Jarrell, Sean, welcome. How y'all doing?
Yeah, what's going on?
And Jarrell, what's up, man?
This is a good thing because for better or for worse, there hasn't been like great wrestling news in a long time, and then suddenly it's almost like a game of can you top this? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody messes up, and one person's like, "Oh, you think that's messing up? Give me a second, I got something for you."
Exactly. We're gonna start off with the biggest story right now going on in professional wrestling is Vince McMahon has temporarily, we're gonna say temporarily because it ain't permanent yet, has stepped down as WWE CEO. He still has creative control. We're going to talk about that. He has stepped down as WWE CEO, and the interim CEO is his daughter, Stephanie McMahon. And the reason because of this is because apparently McMahon has had an affair with one of the employees and paid her $3 million in hush money. Right now, the investigation is trying to find out whether that hush money was used with company funds or if it was out of McMahon's pocket. And he allegedly passed the woman around to John Laurinaitis' People Power, which causes even more drama because we all know Laurinaitis is married to Nikki and Brie Bella's mother. So there's a whole lot of drama. That's a whole different issue right there if Laurinaitis was cheating during this time. So we're going to talk about this first. I'm going to pass it on to Sean first. Your thoughts on McMahon paying $3 million in hush money. And let me just elaborate more. She apparently worked in the, I guess, the law department or something like that. She was originally paid $100,000 a year. And then once she started sleeping with Vince, she got bumped up to $2,000 a year. And then later on was paid $3 million, $1 million up front. And then the rest of the $2 million will be released to her sporadically to an NDA she signed to shut the fuck up about the affair or being passed around to Johnny Ace. So Sean, we're gonna pass it to you first. Your thoughts on this?
First of all, like, why are we doing an investigation? If it's don't Vince own a company, so the company money is his money. So why are we
with shareholders?
I mean, the shareholders get their cut, they get their pound of flesh when they need it. Like, my thing is, like, how are you okay? Let's say, for instance, it was a company money, right, with the shareholders. So what part? I'm pretty sure Vince's share of that is more than $3 million. So if Vince took it out of his money, either way, it went out of him. So the real scandal is Linda McMahon should be pissed. It shouldn't even be something like everybody else is pissed about. It's the same thing when Clinton got busted like cheating on Hillary. Like, why is this our problem? This is more like Linda and the family's problem at the end. Like, I just feel like somebody put this out there in hopes that Vince will finally step down and the WWE can get back to being a creative powerhouse because he's just in the way. But I mean, like, what? This is the first scandal, Vince? I'm pretty sure Vince been piping wrestlers, like, behind the scenes, women, everything else. I mean, we don't even know. Vince could have been piping dudes too. It's his, like, it's whatever he's been up to. So this is the very first scandal we can come out with for Vince. They done jump from scandal to scandal. I just think this was something just to get Vince to step down, like, and to see what happened. But I feel bad for John Laurinaitis because, like, if he was sliding in the middle of that, you was a fool, bro. Like, you can't get busted in Vince's crap. Like, you gotta keep your mind out of that.
But the word was passed. Because the email read that she was passed like a toy to John Laurinaitis.
Nah, man. Listen, there's no passing like the toy. They ran the train. Like, that's all it was. Like, they came in, they ran the train, and she was with it. Like, Vince was probably the conductor. Like, we just gotta understand that he, I'm not saying it's right. What I'm just saying is, like, whatever happened, obviously, you got to give a shout out to that woman because she was smart enough to fleece the money out of it. And two, she knew what she had to do that she was going to get paid for because this was going to come out. Well, guess what? If she only got paid $1 million or $2 million out of that $3 million settlement, yo, she's still ahead because now that it's out, she ain't got to say nothing. She just got to, well, Vince don't have to pay no more and she don't have to say nothing. She can just collect her money and sit back and chill. That's it. Yo, listen, Linda McMahon can hire me for $100,000 a year, tickle that up a little bit, and then pay me like $1 million in hush money. I'm with it.
Jarrell.
Yeah, I mean, the Vince thing, it's like, it wasn't a question of like, oh my God, it was like, well, about damn time. You know, because he had a situation before where he had an affair with a woman in public and all this other stuff. Like you said, the affair isn't the problem. The problem is whether or not he's paying this woman with shareholder money. And the whole thing with like Stephanie stepping down, and then Vince threw her under the bus on the way out, said she wasn't right for the job, and now she's the acting CEO. Like, I thought that was hilarious. I feel like, first of all, fuck John Laurinaitis, but I feel like right now this is her chance while she has the chair. Because like Sean said, if this whole thing was just like a setup to get Vince out of the seat, I'm 100% fine with that. Because he's dead. He's one corner away from turning 80, and he needs to go. It's like the product is suffering. Like, I mean, I still watch NXT, and I 50% still enjoy NXT. But for the love of God, like, it looks like the New Day showed up and threw off a unicorn. Like, it's not like NXT isn't like the show. It's like it's bad like 1980s wrestling with like these goofy characters. And what's the guy the dude who the Italian guy with the Italian mob, and then like he just comes. We're going back to like weird.
Somebody bought Nunzio back.
No, I can't remember that. It's like because a lot of the show I only fast forward and watch the people that I like. You know what I'm saying? Like when Toxic Attraction is on, I watch. You know, like when Apollo Crews shows up, I watch. When black people show up, I watch. But when the Guidos and everybody show up, like, I'm not watching that. And this is all Vince because he got rid of Triple H, you know, and then he put his Vince isms on NXT. So hopefully now, for as long as Stephanie has the power, hopefully she fires Nick Khan. She gets rid of John Laurinaitis because John Laurinaitis was ruining the women's division anyway. Because he was trying to go back to the catalogs to like get women from for lingerie catalogs. He was trying to bring that shit back, which is why Sasha and Naomi put the belt on his desk specifically and and walked out. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully she fires him and she puts Triple H back in control of NXT, and we can dim the lights again on NXT. And it's and it's at a point now where if Stephanie can put the WWE back in a good place with the fans, even if Vince is like cleared of all charges, I don't think they'll want him back. I feel like they're because even the shareholders at some point you got to see like the low ratings, like the bad ratings, the bad comments, and everything. The shareholders at some point had to be like, yo, this motherfucker. Yeah. But they just needed a way to get rid of him. Shit, it could have been Shane's idea for and that's another thing. That's the problem with Vince. For Vince to be the type of person that he is, you can't tell people your dirty secrets and then shit on them like the next day. Like he disrespects the people on the board. He fired John Laurinaitis at one point. You can't fire that man, bring him back, and then still do dirt with him. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? At some point, you're going to piss off the wrong person, and then somebody's going to take your dirty drawers and like throw them in the middle of the street.
True.
And when you're pushing 80 years of age, no one's really going to defend you like that. Like to bring you back. And if people can see it as a way to bring back Triple H and Shane and Stephanie, whoever, then that's what they're gonna. If I was a shareholder, shit, I'd go for that. I'd be like once he got out, I was like, well, it's about damn time. Like that's how I feel about it.
Well, this is not the first, like as Sean said, this is not the first time McMahon has been in a sexual scandal. Back in the 80s, there was a female referee that came forward that McMahon allegedly forced her to give him oral sex in the limo. And after that, I guess when she refused or after she did it, she was let go. So this is not the first time. And even McMahon said it on a Howard Stern, or was it a Playboy interview, that he did have an affair before on Linda. And it's been rumored that they haven't been together for a long, long time. Like they've been they're still married, but they've been separated for a very long time. So
Florida somewhere. He's still in
Well,
contention.
yeah, but I mean, isn't that kind of like what like Hulk and his wife? Like, yo, Hulk been out there like throwing the meat wagon around for like every chick, and it just got to the point where she was like, "Fuck it," she was gonna do her. His wife was gonna do her own thing, and that's when it just finally came out. Like, I'm pretty sure, like if you do an in depth thing, you're gonna find out like almost every wrestler in there has done some grimy shit. I mean, we hear something every 5 minutes about wrestlers sleeping with some of the other female talent. I mean, wasn't it like Xavier Woods? Everybody was embroiled in like some BS, And what do you expect? Wasn't what's the name's wife? I forgot the wrestler who like kind of lost, like John Morrison's girl kept fucking around with everybody.
Yeah, she slept with Batista.
Oh, you mean Melina back in the day? Apparently,
So
allegedly.
yeah, so I mean, at this point, I'm pretty sure working with that work environment, like because it's kind of like the reason why musicians stick around other musicians and any other like genre out there, from wrestling to football to whatever. The reason why because they understand each other. They understand what they go through. So it doesn't shock me when wrestlers fuck around with other wrestlers, and because they get that. They get they get what the job is like, they get what the other person is going through. So
not to mention you're on a roll for like 300 plus days. So I mean,
like somebody's work wife and work husband. Yeah.
That's why wrestlers marry wrestlers. Like,
yeah.
Becky Lynch is married to Seth Rollins. Naomi's married to one of the Usos. Sasha Banks is married to the guy who he does like the costumes backstage.
Yeah.
Like she's married to a wrestling costume person. One of the wrestlers in NXT was married to the black female wrestler.
Yeah.
Booker married his wife. Charmaine was one of the WCW girls.
She was a Nitro girl.
Yeah, and Bianca Belair and dude from Street Profits. So 100% correct.
But at the same time, these people don't pay their lovers with petty cash out of the company.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my thoughts on the Vince thing is that I do think, it's something odd about the fact that my question is, Stephanie just announced like 3 weeks ago she's taking a break, and then automatically it's just like, oh, I'm coming back now. I'm just like, yo, weren't you supposed to take mad time off for your family? Now all of a sudden you get offered the chair, and you're like,
well, you know what? I'm gonna give Stephanie props for that, because unlike John Diggle, Stephanie knows what's really important around her.
Yeah. 100% correct. I mean, for me, the fact that we have to definitely stress this, because I know people are gonna watch this like, oh man, Vince is stepping down. That means things are gonna get better creatively. No. Vince is still
creative,
still in creative control somehow. And you can see that on SmackDown this Friday, which goes into our next topic. For God's sakes, they're doing Brock versus Roman again after a full freaking year of this story. We just ended it at WrestleMania. I understand that Cody is out. I understand that you, for some reason, got rid of Judgment Day, which Edge was doing good with. And then you turn him back to a baby face, and Edge is not even here no more. You have Finn Balor doing Judgment Day.
Well, hold on. So Edge is out of the WWE?
No, Edge is out of the stable that he was building.
Judgment. Yeah, well, that I saw, and I thought that was just stupid.
No. So he Edge is a part-timer, so he takes breaks.
Yeah.
So instead of just having him manage or just, be in the shadows, McMahon wanted to put this in a more supernatural stable. Edge was against it, so Edge had to leave the stable, and now that's why Balor's there. So I guess Demon Balor is going to take over eventually and become like the new head of Judgment Day. It makes no freaking sense. A lot of the stories don't make sense, and it all have Vince's footprints on it. So if you think that McMahon is leaving creative because of this scandal, you're wrong. He is still going to have creative control. still. And what was with Gerard? I'm not sure if you saw SmackDown. What was the point of him coming out on Friday? I think he's going to talk about the scandal. He just says WWE is now, then, forever, and together, and leaves. I was just like,
the point of that was two things. One, if you announce before the show that Vince McMahon is going to appear on the show after the scandal just broke, then millions of people are going to tune into that show. So you get automatic, you get cheap pop ratings. Second of all, it's Vince McMahon's way of just saying, "Yeah, I did it. So what? And I'm still here." that's why when the music plays, the first thing you hear is "No chance." like I ain't never stepping down, motherfucker. Like that's basically what it was.
See, that's my biggest problem with the WWE and why I had to really stop watching it, and like why wrestling is kind of like boring the hell out of me. Like I was just talking to somebody, like even after Justin did his when he did his appearance at Brooklyn Comic Con, like growing up anime in the 90s, like when you think about the late 90s and 2000s to like the 2010s wrestling, it was literally a soap opera with great storylines. It was over the top. Like, let me tell you something. Like, everything they did was over the top, but it was so damn entertaining that I remember rushing home with like Ian and everybody else just to sit down and watch like what crazy storyline. Like, I still remember Mick Foley, like, he was like the most, like the one person you couldn't see as like WWE champion, and they put him in such a great storyline where he was just complete trash. Like he was just Mick Foley, Mankind. And when he won the belt, you kind of like, it kind of lifted your heart a little bit, like to watch everybody carry him around, because I don't think he was ever WCW champion. I don't think he was ever like anything that big, but that storyline they put him in, where like the WWE was just like Triple H, everybody was just shitting on him so bad. And for him to come out, and when I think The Rock was the one that helped him win.
No, Austin.
That was
Austin. He beat The Rock.
Yeah, it was Austin. So to watch him get raised, it was the most heartwarming thing. And then you saw like storylines like that for the belt were like really intense. You know, like I always joke with my boy Mark about how, and I should have told him earlier to get on Zoom to come in here for this. Like when what do you call it? Where the Big Show rolled the coffin to the championship, like because of the Big Boss Man, and that's what we always say. Like it's the year the Big Show rolled the coffin to the championship, and then you had that scandal with The Rock in the Royal Rumble. Everything was set up so perfect for each wrestler. Like you were really invested in every last one of those stories. And then, you know, like when they went kid friendly, it was still okay, because as much as people don't like John Cena kind of really led that charge, being the hustle hard and every other blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like you respected it. And he had some really good competition. And all the PG-13 stuff was still entertaining enough for us to sit down and say, I don't mind investing my time and money and watching it. But then all of a sudden, everything just started going to complete crap, because it's like the story, like they invite Brock back, and then Brock is just, every Brock goes, takes a break. Like I'm so sick of seeing Brock Lesnar. Like as soon as Justin mentioned it, I'm like, all right, I'm turning it off. Like you built this great character with Roman Reigns. You let him be him. And I think the thing that's holding the WWE together is the tribal chief. Like whenever, like people who don't even like wrestling love the tribe. I mean, for God's sakes, like they integrated that in The Rock's TV show, just to let you know. And it kind of felt like a preview of, they were giving you a hint that Rock and Roman Reigns are going to eventually finally meet at a WrestleMania. And you constantly want to bring Brock. Brock is dry and corny. Like nobody, why is it? It's like Vince is there. Like, I just want a jacked up white dude to come out and just like run roughshod over everything. And it's like, it's boring. First of all, I still haven't forgiven Vince for the Kofi incident. And I definitely didn't forget, even though this is not her fault, I still didn't forgive him for the, what do you call it? The man incident where she beat Bianca Belair. Like these 3-second matches, these 3-second squash matches on some of these athletes to earn their spot and earn the respect for a long match. just 3 second shit match just to show their dominance. That was just bullshit. Both of them. And I still haven't forgiven them for that. Like,
Although Bianca got hers back at WrestleMania.
yeah, but was it 3 seconds?
No, they had an actual match.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just stupid that the Kofi ain't get his match back with Brock. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kofi ain't get it back to get that belt back.
No, funny enough, you know what they did? Kofi never got his rematch with Brock. They gave Kofi his championship rematch against Lashley.
Yeah, and he got squashed there too.
Yeah,
Lashley beat his ass.
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Why is Kofi like, you built a guy up that the fans absolutely love, and then you have him squashed by two dudes that, like, let's be honest, in real life, Kofi wouldn't try to fight this dude. Kofi would have either pulled the chair out or the bat and taken it to body parts to even this out. Like, come on, like, this is just, it's just Vince not liking athletic wrestlers and liking dudes that look like they're on the juice. Like,
It's also Vince's inability these days to build stars. Like, if the fact that you got to keep going back to the Brockwell, as much as I like Cena's coming back. I mean, but then again, it's Cena's 20th anniversary. I will celebrate that if I was Cena as well. But it just seems like because Money in the Bank originally was supposed to be in the a huge stadium, and they had to move it to an arena because they didn't get the sales. And that's the same thing that happened at WrestleMania 7, where it was supposed to be in the stadium and they didn't get the sales, but they had this story that, Sergeant Slaughter was being threatened and there was a bomb threat and things like that. But it was really because of the lack of sales. So SummerSlam is after Money in the Bank. So if your marquee match for SummerSlam is going to be Brock and Roman again, I'm not watching it. Yeah. It needs, like, you have.
I watch everything up until that point with the wrestlers that I like.
Yeah, but I won't even do that. Unfortunately, the wrestlers I like are gonna have to suffer, because if you keep giving them ratings, they're gonna keep cranking out that bullshit. But they'll stop cranking the bullshit when everybody stops watching.
Like, for me, I think SummerSlam should have been Bianca versus Rhea, not at Money in the Bank. That's a marquee match that's worthy of SummerSlam because of the history.
SummerSlam should have been the Bianca Sasha rematch that we never got.
It should have been that too, but we're going to get to Sasha Banks in a minute. But it just seems like it's leading to Bianca and Becky again at SummerSlam. So it just basically seems like WrestleMania rematches, which usually happens at Backlash, again for SummerSlam. Granted, like I said, Cody's gone. Randy's hurt. So you have some top.
Cody's gone. Isn't he hurt, or he's just
out?
He's
hurt. Meaning, like, Cody's going, like, he's out. Cody's hurt. Randy's hurt. I mean, you can build up Lashley, but they have him chasing the U.S. title for some unknown reason. Instead of going after the tribal chief, which I think will be smart.
I'd rather see that more than Brock. Like, I would love to see, like, the argument between Lashley and because I think that would be a good, like, honestly, interim match. If you're gonna put, like, let's say you're gonna put Roman Reigns and The Rock together, I would love to see another 2-month long to wrestle, 2-3 month long argument between him and Lashley, going back and forth, and it would be wonderful to see Lashley get his ass whooped for the next month with the tribal chief and with Jimmy and Jay, like, constantly jumping him and constantly doing anything, and to finally, like, bring that storyline in that all of a sudden the Hurt Business, like, he gets his ass whooped, and then the Hurt Business comes down, the old members help him, and then it's just like, okay, they reconcile, and now you have another month long or so between the Hurt Business
versus the Bloodline.
So that would excite the shit out of me, to come in there and say, okay, I gotta watch this. This shit look like it's gonna be doing something. But instead, we're gonna get Brock Lesnar bringing his fucking lumberjack ass shirt wearing, overall wearing ass down there, fucking dancing in the ring, doing the same bullshit. Why do I care? Like, that's all I can say. Why do I care?
Two biggest problems right now is Vince is so far gone as far as, like, his ability to, like, tell wrestling stories. He can only rely on people that are already stars, like, because he doesn't have it in him to build up any new people. And anytime, because, like you said, it's just like, because he doesn't know what to do. Let's just go back to what worked before, pal. They recycle old shit, and then when you finally do have something good, you mess it up. You had the Hurt Business. People actually like the Hurt Business.
Yep.
You broke up the Hurt Business.
Just like you did Judgment Day.
Yeah, like there were other acts, there were other teams. Like you said, you had Judgment Day, and then his dumb ass ruined Judgment Day, and then Ed Smart was like, "Yo, I'm out because you're about to ruin this." Like the Street Profits were hot at one point, and then he pulled them. Like he forgot about the New Day when Big E got hurt. Like Drew McIntyre. Remember Drew McIntyre was a thing. It's like we went away. It's like because he fell in love with Austin Theory, now all of a sudden we don't care about Drew McIntyre anymore, who was the perfect person you could have slotted at SummerSlam to fight Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But now he's doing it in September at the UK event.
Yeah, but he's not gonna win that.
No.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And that's another issue is that they built Roman so strong that we all know he's gonna win every match until The Rock comes. So it's like it's pointless.
The Rock might not even come. Like
exactly.
Hey, remember AJ Styles? Like what happened to AJ Styles?
Yeah, but I think even building Roman that big, he kind of deserves it considering the bullshit they bring when it comes to Brock. Because Roman Reigns is at least entertaining while he's the bloodline. Like
I'm not mad at Roman, but they sacrificed the rest of the roster.
The roster
just to build up Roman Reigns.
That's the issue. That's the predicament that they have right now. Because if you look at the roster, the only legit person, there's like only 4 legit wrestlers on that roster right now that I can see beating Roman: Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, and Randy Orton, and Cody. Those are the only top 5, right, that I could think of. And Edge, if Edge was like babyface, if Edge goes back to babyface. Those are the only 6 people you can think of on that roster and go, okay, yeah, that's legit contenders for Roman Reigns.
Sorry to cut you off, but also look, most of those people except for Brock had factions, and he's killed off. If he's gonna push that person, he kills off the factions, which is stupid. Like, don't the Bloodline own both?
Yeah. They own all the major titles. They own both tag titles. They own both world championships. And if they wanted to, they'll go for the Intercontinental and U.S. title, and they got everything.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things Vince could have done is just like, okay, if you're gonna put him up against Randy Orton, you could have RK Bro and somebody else who's fucking annoyed with them come together, and then Randy beats Roman for one of the belts, and RK Bro or somebody else that takes over beats one of them for the tag championship, and it looks kind of even. So you go into WrestleMania, maybe having a 6-man tag to either to either switch the titles over to one side again or give it to them. At least make it look like there are stakes involved in it, and there's no stakes involved in it. I still think Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Business would be the perfect thing to throw them right now, but of course he's not. He's going to throw Brock back in there. What's Brock going to do? Go get 2 people who really probably don't like him either to come together and do it? Just looks retarded. Or they make Brock like this superhuman that not even the rest of the bloodline can beat him. They jump on me, they can't beat him, and I think that is just stupid. Like,
I mean, the way they built up Roman at this point, the only way you can beat Roman is to put him in a triple threat match where both belts are on the line individually. Like you have one guy from Raw, one guy from SmackDown in a triple threat. If the Raw guy wins, he gets one belt. If the SmackDown guy, that's the only way you're going to beat Roman. And if I were them, I would put when Cody comes back, I would make Cody one of those 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say for the sake of argument, the third person is Lashley. I would have Lashley pin Cody to win one of the belts, and then have Lashley spear Roman Reigns so Cody can pin him and win the other belt.
Yeah.
The fans will go crazy because everybody wants to see Cody get the belt. Roman's a part-timer now, so now he doesn't have any gold. And if Roman wants to come back, he can go to SmackDown and start a program with Lashley, being mad at Lashley for costing him the belt that Cody pinned him for.
I completely agree.
You could have Cody go to Raw and just feud with everybody under the sun, and this way, like, Vince still gets his tribal chief, but the rest of us still actually get other shit that we actually want to see.
Yeah, and it's also hurting the shows that he has both belts and he's not there.
He's not there.
You're losing the prestige. Like, I mean, Gunther just became Intercontinental Champion. I really feel bad for Ricochet because the dude never gets to defend any of his titles. Like he's literally just the transition champion. And once again, it goes back to this old Vince McMahon mentality that you have to be a certain size to be champion. And it's just like, dude, it's 20.
Not Intercontinental Champion, like.
Yeah, but he's still. But look at all the champions though. Like they're all heavyweights.
Yeah, and I think
besides Theory, but Theory is in his pocket.
Yeah, I think Vince just hates a lot of the champions. I don't want to put it out there, but it just seems like some of the black champions get shitted on way too much in the WWE. Like Ricochet Ricochet reminds me of a little bit of Kofi and what The Rock went through for like the first year, because The Rock didn't win the title he won it on a major pay-per-view, but not the major pay-per-view. Like we thought he was going to win it at WrestleMania. He didn't. We thought he was going to win it at SummerSlam. He didn't. Didn't The Rock finally win the championship at like a Judgment Day pay-per-view? Yeah, something like that. So my thing is, I can understand building.
No, he won on Survivor Series. His first time.
Yeah,
the Survivor Series.
Yeah,
when they screwed Mankind, he joined the corporation.
Yeah, like I'm talking about when he was a babyface. We do remember.
Well, when he was a babyface, he won the Intercontinental Champion as Rocky Maivia.
No. I'm talking about after the corporation thing, when he was battling the
Backlash.
Yeah, when he was battling Triple H every week and it was
Backlash. That's when Austin came.
Yeah, they build it up, and The Rock wouldn't win the championship. He was supposed to win it at the Iron Man thing, and then the Undertaker came out and fucked that up for him. But that's what I mean by like you could build Ricochet up for that to give him like would he have the U.S. championship?
No, he was Intercontinental.
Okay, so you should build him up to have the U.S. championship, and then build a storyline that Ricochet finally is tired of getting shitted on every single week. And you can make an honest run that after he does that, then you can say, okay, he won the belt, and then now he's going to set his eyes on the championship. Give the man a chance. Like, he's so talented. And all you want to do is just give him the belt, hold it for somebody that Vince likes better or somebody else, and then have him lose it to it. Like, he's a sacrificial lamb for everybody.
Yeah, transitional champion. That's what they call it in the biz. But we're going to talk a little bit about, because Jarrell alluded to it, Sasha Banks. So there's rumors right now that's going on. Is she or is she not been released already? She put out an Instagram post on her story that's saying, this is why I don't use Twitter, because people just be making up stuff weekly. So what happened was earlier this week, Wrestling Inc. reported that Sasha Banks was let go by the WWE. And it was also found out on Friday that they digitally edited out Sasha Banks signs that a fan was holding in the front row, which is just petty as hell. That's just WWE being petty again. Like, come on. But because we didn't get a chance to talk about what happened. So for those who don't really watch wrestling, so Sasha and Naomi were not happy about the creative decisions that was going on with the women's tag team divisions. They were put in a fatal 6-way or something like that. Yeah, fatal 6-way matchup with Doudrop, Nikki Ash, Alexa. No, it wasn't Alexa Bliss. It was Asuka and Becky Lynch. And her and Naomi. Naomi was supposed to go over by pinning Sasha.
Yeah.
And Naomi would have faced Bianca Belair at Hell in a Cell, only to lose. And then Sasha was supposed to fight Ronda Rousey and lose as well. Their job was to put those champions over, which didn't make sense to them because they're the tag team champions. They didn't even know why they were even in the match when you already have singles competitors that they could have used, which is totally understandable.
And then there still was no women's tag storyline for them even after Hell in
a Cell.
Until after Money in the Bank. So they felt like the titles weren't being respected. They weren't respected. So allegedly they went to John Laurinaitis, People Power, who apparently is getting McMahon sloppy seconds, allegedly. and they left the tag team belts with them. And then WWE was saying that, which I just find freaking hilarious, Jarrell, when WWE announced that they're going to do a tag team tournament for the belts. Bitches, y'all don't have teams. What tag team division you got?
every time they put together a tag team, they find the most popular person out of that tag team and then break them up.
They don't have teams. They have single stars that they just put together.
Because listen, let me tell you something. Sasha and Bailey were phenomenal together.
Yeah.
And they kept sitting down saying, okay, we're going to break them up. Fine. I like Sasha and Naomi. That's a good team. So y'all have nothing for Dewdrop. Why don't you just put Dewdrop with somebody who
They did with Nikki Ash.
Okay, so fine, you have that. So who else isn't doing anything?
Well, now they have Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss becoming a tag team.
And I think that's a waste because Alexa Bliss should stay a singles competitor, and so should Liv Morgan. Or Liv Morgan should tag with somebody else.
If anyone who needs to stay a singles competitor because she's gaining popularity is Liv Morgan. Yeah, Liv Morgan should stay as a singles competitor. Alexa's been tag champion before. I mean, they should just bring her back to Nikki. Like they were a tag team champions.
But the other problem is, and this is also a Vince's I don't understand as far as you have two women's titles, you have two divisions on two different shows. The balance of competitiveness, it's not even. Like Bailey, Bianca, Becky, Sasha, Naomi, Rhea Ripley, they should all be on one show. Like girls like Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, I was gonna call her Thea Trinidad, Zelina Vega, like they should all be together on one show because the problem is you can't convince me that some of those girls can beat other girls. Yeah. So the girl and I enjoy Liv Morgan, but you will never convince me that Liv Morgan can win a match against Asuka. But you can convince me that Liv Morgan can beat Carmella. So why is Carmella and Liv Morgan not in a program together, or why are they not on their own show where they can fight for their own title? You know, and just have like the big wrestling like brawly looking girls, like put them on like and this is why like I don't like, as much as I hate Charlotte Flair, I don't like how they structured the SmackDown women's roster, because with the exception of Raquel Rodriguez and Shayna Baszler, there's nobody on that roster that you can like realistically convince me is gonna beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, so they put Natalya again, but we've seen that match already.
That's not gonna buy, like nobody's buying that.
Yeah, we've seen that match already.
Nobody's buying her against Aaliyah. Nobody's gonna buy her against Lacey Evans. I could buy her against Xia Li only because Xia Li actually knows how to fight in real life. But then you got Xia Li losing to Lacey Evans, so now I'm not gonna buy that. So I'm just like, okay, so basically the only person who could really beat her is Raquel Rodriguez because she's like 7'12".
Or Shayna Baszler, which I don't understand why they didn't do that or why they're not going that direction.
Two of them are supposed to be friends, so that's like, so that probably is not going to work.
So what? Baby faces have fought baby faces before, but McMahon hates those type of things. I don't know. He's so set on a heel has to face a baby face. It's always been like that in the WWE. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, we could go to switch to AEW. FTR faced each other for the Owen Hart Cup, like to qualify, and that was a great match. They're partners, tag team partners. There was no animosity afterwards. It's just like it was just a match.
Yeah, I'm fine with it as long as there's like a reason. Like if there's a storyline that builds up to why it's heel versus heel or face versus face, then fine. But I don't like when they just do it at random for no reason.
I mean, didn't they? There was a thing. I think it was on Wrestle. I was watching Wrestling Insider or WrestleMania that Ronda really wants to have Shayna Baszler is an MMA ex MMA fighter, right? Yeah. So she wants to have two other MMA fighters in the WWE and have a match that she said her dream match would be her and three other MMA fighters, former fighters, versus the Four Horsewomen.
Yes, no, she
had that already. They had Justin Duke and Marina Shafir.
Yeah, she wanted her friends that were there that got released. She wanted to do that match, but they're released now. One is in AEW. I think one is in NWA now, or doing the indie circuit. So like unless Vince gives them I'm pretty sure Tony Khan won't mind, but if Vince is not the type to do one-offs, like he'll do it for Mickie James because he had to do that because they sent her clothes in a trash bag. So
no, he said he didn't know that she was the Impact Women's Champion. Vince was just like, oh, we need women for the Royal Rumble. Let's just bring back Mickie James. And they were looking at him like, dude, you know she wrestles on Impact and she's currently their champion. He didn't know. They invited her to be in the Rumble, not knowing she was the champion on somebody else's show.
Yeah, and that's my biggest thing with Vince. Like he's not looking at things the way he should.
Yeah.
He's just sitting down there just saying, okay, let me just throw like like he's just like, okay, I'm gonna just throw this together. That would be a really good thing, like to have. I would love to see the four horsewomen come back together one more time. I would love to see Ronda get that. But the thing is, you guys are right. Seriously, who the hell is beating some of these women? And they don't build up any of the other women to do anything. Like Asuka was unstoppable at one point. Now it's just like she's a joke. And I mean, you could build Dewdrop up to be something that maybe Nia Jax wasn't. I mean, I think the only thing that stopped Nia Jax was that people had a problem with working with her because they felt like she was like the Ahmed Johnson of the fucking women's division, like always. Like I still remember the Rock quote, like the one time Ahmed Johnson powerbombed me, I spit up blood. So he was dangerous, like so. It's the problem that Vince just does not treat the women's division. He hasn't treated the women's division with respect since like the Bella twins were in there, and it was just Bailey, Sasha, like what do you call it? Charlotte Flair.
The Women's Revolution.
Yeah, he hasn't treated it with respect since then.
But that was more Triple H and Stephanie's doing.
Yeah, so
than Vince.
But the way it currently is, like you can tell, Vince only when it comes to the women, Vince only views Charlotte as a star.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because of her last name.
In the lineage of being a Flair.
Yeah. And I mean the thing is, look at what happened with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks when they came out. That was probably one of the best WrestleMania matches. I still on YouTube.
Yeah, but I think they honestly
we were at your house when we saw that.
Yeah. I honestly think they were kind of forced to do that one. Like I honestly think they were forced to do that one. That's because that was one of those demands that if they didn't go on last, there would have been an uproar. Like there would have been like, yo, you're gonna have problems if you do not put these two women last.
And I get, but also before that, weren't they talking about adding somebody to the match at one point? And then, and then Sasha and them had to argue against, because Vince is just like, the fans can say everything they want. Vince is just like, okay, Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, that's good, but we need Flair. Like, like his brain he only has 4 people in his head that he likes. In his mind, it's Charlotte, Brock, Roman Reigns, and my God, I got to get The Rock back by any means necessary. Like,
and John Cena too.
John Cena. Like to him, like that's it. Like when in doubt, go to the Rolodex of those 5 people, and that's where the product is. That's why he can't build any new stars. NXT was building stars left and right,
and look what happened to it.
Yeah, and then they were getting called down to the main roster, and they were getting ruined. Like I'm afraid for Walter. Like I'm
afraid for Walter already. He changed his name.
And this is gonna sound really weird. Once I saw that Walter was in shape, that's when I started getting scared.
Yeah.
Because I was like, holy shit, he's lost weight and he actually looks like he actually has muscle tone and muscle mass. I said, damn, Vince is getting to him.
He was told to drop the weight by Vince. Because Vince does not like, and that's the issue he had with Keith Lee. He has this, like I said, he has this bodybuilder mindset. Like every guy has to have this physique. And like Walter was intimidating by his size. And it wasn't just the fact that it was his size. The dude can go in the ring. Watch his matches at NXT that he still has the best match in NXT UK. Like that main event is a classic. And it's just like, he wasn't this jacked up dude, seeing all the muscle mass and stuff like that. It's just Vince has this thing with that you have to look a certain way. And it just never changed from the early 80s to 90s. Like, look how long it took for guys like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels to even get to the top, because he was still on the Ultimate Warriors, the Hulk Hogan bodybuilding physique. It wasn't until, this is why Bret's my favorite. It wasn't until Bret started putting on those matches that was just basically Brett, Savage, Michaels were all putting on these matches that was way better than Hogan's and Warriors, and they got over with the in-ring work is where Vince had to do the new generation.
And he doesn't recognize the gold that he's currently sitting on. Do we all remember Bobby Roode in NXT?
Yeah.
Like Glorious, Justin put me on to that. When that man came out to the Glorious fucking theme song, I was just like, yo, this is gold.
Like to this day, one of the best entrances was when they did NXT Takeover Toronto.
Yes.
Brought out that big ass choir and they were all singing Glorious when he was
Yes.
coming out. Imagine at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship, that Bobby Roode versus Ricochet.
Yes.
Would have been classic.
That would have been great.
It's like, dude, they're both sitting right here. like they're both sitting right here.
No,
Why
but
are
he
you not putting them in the ring?
no, but he's stuck as the Dirty Dogs, which is not even.
Dirty Cow.
Yeah, it's like even the tag team divisions are not, the male tag team divisions are horrible. It's like Usos, New Day.
Let me tell y'all what's crazy. And remember this, and this is when I thought the WWE was on its way back. Do you remember when R-Truth, when they gave some weird push to R-Truth? And R-Truth was the most comedic, greatest heel. Forget the little Jimmy thing was the start. But let me tell you when I lost my shit. When R-Truth was feuding with John Cena, and John Cena asked him to come out. My man walked out with a Confederate flag suit on and came out to say, I'm sorry, I lost it. Because I felt like if that was from R-Truth's creative mind, that was the most in-your-face thing you could do. And him battling John Cena was like a great angle because he's the most unlikely person to do that. He's very talented. And watching him fight, and him, if he would have actually won the title, because it's not like R-Truth hasn't been a champion. He was like TNA's first champion. To watch him do the things he did, to have that slightly crazy R-Truth doing weird stuff was gold. And Vince just shit on it. The same thing he did with Shelton Benjamin. When Shelton Benjamin was battling Triple H, and he came out, and my name is Mr. Benjamin, and he was winning. You had gold with that. And then
his match with Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, he just throws it away. Like he'll have 3 or 4 good matches where the fans are behind it, and they're just like both of them, Benjamin and R-Truth, phenomenal matches against really good wrestlers where they built like this. People can't wait, and then he just pulls the rug from under and gives us somebody we don't care about.
Yeah, and that's because
no. Correction. Sorry, Justin. Correction. He gives us somebody he cares about.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Thank you.
You do not get over unless Vince gets you over. He hates organic. Look, and the perfect example of this is Rusev. Rusev was crazy over what Rusev did.
Yeah,
it was organic. People got behind him. Vince refused because the machine is not who he wanted to put over. How can you work for a company where you're set? The fans are literally saying, we're gonna give you money, and you're gonna be like, nah, but you're not. I'm not gonna push you. I don't want to take your money because you're not giving it to the money to the person I want. That is just
he's a textbook narcissist where he just wants things the way he wants it. Yeah. And there's got to be a point where somebody's got to say, yo, he got to come down.
And that's exactly why. And you want proof of that? Look at NXT. Every single NXT call up either got a name change, character change, or they got released because Triple H did that. He had nothing to do with NXT. That's why he took over NXT, because it wasn't his creations. He cannot handle anything that he does not create, and that's not the way you do business.
I forgot about Rusev Day, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
because some of these great things are so far gone that we forget that that was like a glimmer of hope. And this whole thing where he went PG-13 to appease, to be something for the kids and the fans. Like, guess what? When it was the Attitude Era, there's still plenty of kids buying it. There's still plenty of parents buying it.
Mhm.
I get that he did it for um the times where everything is cancel culture. There's definitely no, in this day and age, there's no room for anything in the Attitude Era. The Attitude, I mean, hell, sometimes they can't even show stuff from the Attitude Era because somebody is gonna flip out and be like, cancel this. But it's still, your product is trash. Like, that's the thing I have a problem with when people do things for the era, because it's like, okay, your product is trash, and if you just tell people, then don't watch it. Like, I don't understand why people is like, I choose not to watch wrestling because I don't like what it's putting out. So that's my choice. It's not me telling anybody else, well, I don't like the way it's going, so don't watch it. This is my problem, not yours. Jarrell watches it every week religiously. And like he said, he watches the matches that he wants to watch. Mm-hmm. I just said early in the podcast, like, yo, stop watching it, because if you don't stop watching it, he's going to continue to put it out. But then again, Jarrell is there to make his own decision about watching it. I just think that there should be a nationwide outcry of Vince need to step down, Triple H and Stephanie need to step up. And so it's the same thing I say about how our country is being run. We need to start like letting some of the old folks go. It's time for you to step down. Start letting some of the new blood come in there and start making some decisions, because things is getting retarded and stale at this point.
Making the decisions are currently out of touch.
Yeah, you out of touch with what's going on right now, and we're not going anywhere.
Like, to say something like, oh, Vince is in charge because he makes the product entertaining, and he brings like the life and the entertainment into it. NXT was entertaining strictly just based on the two people that were across the ring from each other.
Yes.
Say that, like, every match, every feud, every match didn't need some ridiculous over the top storyline. People were like lining up in drones for NXT matches just to see two people beat the shit out of each other. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that was the only storyline you needed was, hey, we're gonna fight. They like, and I don't like you. And the crowd would go bananas as soon as the bell rang.
It's kind of like the same thing that AEW does. They just find two people that generally will look good in a match together. Let them battle it out.
And there will be no AEW events did things the right way. If you put the people who wanted to be over, there wouldn't have been a mass exodus. There wouldn't be people constantly begging for their releases. You will still have the revival there. You'll still have Rusev there. You let go of Bray fucking Wyatt. That still drives me crazy. How do you let go of Bray Wyatt?
But also, this is the thing. AEW has to be careful because they're about to start suffering from the same thing that
WCW effect.
Yeah, they're starting to take too many people on, and it's not enough room for everybody. They need to start splitting that roster up with TNA and start.
They can't do everything on Dark. No one's. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Tony owns Ring of Honor now. I mean, my whole thing with AEW, I feel like I like the fact that to an extent the wrestlers do get creative control, but there's also a part where, because Vince is like, no, I don't care what your idea is. The answer is no. Tony will at least listen to them and do their ideas. The problem with Tony is Tony doesn't know how to tell them no.
Yeah.
Because Tony will be like, okay, I'll let you do this. When we get to week 5, and now the guy's like, yo, I want to backflip off the Goodyear blimp. And like Tony's just like, sure, why? Like, dude, like, come on, like, they're ODing now. Because now, like, people are taking in AEW, sometimes they take too many liberties to the point where it's like, now this is just getting ridiculous. Like, bro, like, you got to reel that shit in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the bloated roster thing is the real reason for MJF's frustration. Like, and I definitely side with MJF on this. This is like, yo, I'm one of the people originals here, and I want more pay. Yeah, I signed a contract, but let's talk about me getting more money because I'm the hottest rated thing here, which is true. You look at the analytics, MJF is the most highest, rated segments all the time. And Tony just like, you got Punk, you brought John Morrison in, now you got Athena, Ember Moon. So it's basically you're taking everybody WWE let go instead of doing what you were doing good. Like, you had people from Impact, you had New Japan, you had a lot of people from the Indies that needed a platform. But now you're just looking like you really are looking like WCW, and you're following the same mistakes WCW did, and that
Yeah.
was getting all the ex WWE guys,
And
having them get creative control, and then next thing you know, it implodes. It's heading the same way as WCW. He needs to chill out with the signing.
Yeah, and I mean MGF is this generation's $1 million man.
Yeah.
He is that arrogant. He is that great. He is that, like, any storyline he's been into has been really good, well written, and phenomenal. Like, you deal with him on that level of, you just have to like give the man respect and
Yeah.
do what it is. You know, you're right. Stop signing everybody. Like, you have this roster and you're partnered with New Japan and TNA. Okay, you need to start. What I think he needs to start doing is shifting some of that talent to TNA
Well,
and help TNA build back up. Because I mean, to be honest with you,
well, no,
TNA used to be good. Like when they had aces and eights, that was probably the best.
yeah, it
era.
was the best run.
Yeah, that, and when they had the main event Mafia.
Well, not to cut you off, but he purchased ROH, Ring of Honor. So that's what I understand. It's like
Send them the Ring of Honor.
send him the Ring of Honor, get Ring of Honor a TV deal, and that's how you'll have your Raw and SmackDown ish.
Yeah, exactly.
Showcase everybody. Some people be like Samoa Joe signed a deal to be in Ring of Honor and AEW. So yeah, then again, you sign Samoa Joe, you sign William Regal, you have signed almost everybody WWE has released recently in these past few years. Like, so it's like, dude, you have ROH now. You have another company.
Well, he's talking about doing a streaming service, and I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But now that you have ROH, move everybody over, move half the roster to ROH. Like, okay, let's say he has ROH, but you have a partnership or a handshake deal or whatever it is with TNA. Okay, let's start moving some people around to TNA. You have a chance to make it a monopoly, but not really, where you have 3 wrestling promotions that could interwork with each other and probably pretty much drive the WWE down, because
Quality wise, not money wise.
yeah, not money, but quality wise, where you can come in and you could pretty much have, okay, I'm interested in watching what TNA has a good little storyline going. ROH has a really good storyline going. And then AEW is the main storyline that I like watching. And you can interchange in between that, where I can just come in and at any time. And then if you have the streaming service, I can jump in between any time and go, oh shit, this week something's going on with ROH. Okay, something's going on in TNA this week. Yeah, I got to sit down and watch that. Oh, yo, MJF just pulled some wildness on AEW. Now I can watch it. And so that way, if you have like a Sasha Banks is coming out, let's say the rumor is true and she's done. So you have a Sasha Banks show up on one of the shows where she'll be good for the woman. Like, I would love to see Sasha Banks come in and challenge Brooke Baker for like the belt. Like that. I think that would be like one hot match, because I think they would equally be matched at what they're doing. So, huh?
I said I'd rather see her in TNA because I think TNA has a better women's.
I do think, but I can't see Sasha beating no, isn't Gangrel on AEW?
No, well, Gangrel is like per appearance deal, so he goes wherever he wants to go.
No, not Gangrel, the girl, the Diesel Black, what's her name?
You mean Jade?
Jade.
Yeah, she's AEW, but she's TBS champion right now, so she's holding it down with the baddies. Like she's I will say the dream match for everybody is her versus Bianca.
That would be fucking excellent.
Yeah, it's between her and Bianca, but she's still new, so she got a couple of years to go.
Yeah, and they're still trying to train her to be like polished wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would love to see her go over with Sasha, just because I think it would be a good match with her dealing with a veteran if Sasha isn't with the WWE, which I think the WWE was stupid to let Sasha go. And
I feel like it's more of a situation where her contract was going to expire anyway, and because they hit her with the bullshit, she's just going to wait to re-sign. She's movies and stuff, and then she wants to come back. But she's upset because people are like, "Oh, she's running to Impact. I mean, she's running to Impact, or she's going to AEW." Now she's like, "Yo, shut up! Y'all about to ruin this for me." You know,
Yeah,
but I mean, but honestly, whatever the fact, she's justified in what she did because even for WrestleMania, she was supposed to wrestle Charlotte for the title at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And when Ronda said, "Hey, I think I'm ready to come back now," Vince was like, "Oh, there's somebody I know," and then it's like he just dismissed the fact that Sasha Banks was a star.
And Naomi was supposed to have a big match against Sonya Deville at WrestleMania to finish their feud, and they just did it on SmackDown. And like, because Naomi's friend came out on Twitter and told the whole story. It's like they were Sasha was promised a match, like Jarrell said, with Charlotte, and Naomi was supposed to have a big match against Sonya Deville because Naomi was over during this time, and so was Sonya. Sonya was over as a heel, and they just once again, Vince just does not. I don't understand creatively his mind. It's just like your city is. It's like Sega, where everybody is demanding the Dreamcast collection to either hit the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Nintendo Switch. Give us a Dreamcast collection. What does Sega do? Sega just goes, "Nah, we're gonna re-release more Sonic Origin, Sonic games for you. The same Sonic games we've been releasing since God knows when. This time, guys, we're gonna include Sonic 3 in there because we're all over we're done with the Michael Jackson controversy. So here's all the Sonic games. We want Sega Dreamcast games. No. You're gonna get another Sonic game. No remaster. Just here's the Sonic games. But this time you can play Knuckles in Sonic 1.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Like, I think we have to say that for another podcast. Bring in the Dreamcast collection, maybe for the O&G comic book podcast. But I just think that this is, and I think we've spent about a good 40 minutes on this. Yeah. Like this is both all three well, I'd say the two major promotions, AEW and WWE, need to get it together because the fan base isn't what it was from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Well, to the 10s and not the 20s. Fans are less involved in it like we are. We are pretty much we are what our parents were when they used to say, even my dad looked at me, "Hey, you don't know a champion like Harley Race." And I'm like, "Who is it? Isn't he the old guy they strut out every once in a while to be the manager for somebody?" Or I was around when Jerry the King Lawler was the king. And he like, "Yo, don't he just sit at the announce table? What you mean Jerry Lawler was the king?" Every once in a while he puts on that onesie that onesie singlet that he has and one strap singlet and just goes in there and does his little BS. But this is what we're at right now. Like, we're the guys that are like, "Hey, Hogan, Cena, and this and that." And it's the newer generation could care less. Like, I meet so many kids right now that there was at least a generation where you can sit down with a kid and talk about wrestling because it was wrestling. Wrestling, they like to say it. And now it's just like, hey, they was like, yo, they look at you with disdain, like, "You watch that?" Like,
that's because a lot of people think now wrestling is like jumping into containers of orange juice and throwing fireballs in people's faces, and like it's become like a competitive circus.
Yeah, and it's more than that. There's no storyline for it. I used to love saying that wrestling is the male soap opera. Like, you can get it down and do it. And I still know people, but it's somebody closer to our age. Like, go to somebody who's 20 years old and say, "Hey, you watch wrestling?" And they'll look at you like, "Yo, what's wrong with you, bro? Like, yo, get a life. Like, walk away from me with this." Like, what? And this is, and if Vince ever heard this is partly your fault. Yeah. If not all of it, this is partly your fault. You took something that was generational and turned it into a flaming bag of poop because you can't let go. Triple H, you had the trifecta of letting Triple H and everybody else take over. Your legacy would have been fine, but you had to be in Vince fashion. If it ain't about you, It's sad. I've heard people say, "Yo, I can't, God forgive me. Like, when Vince is gone, we're finally gonna get wrestling back."
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard that's
Yeah.
as
mean,
cool as that sounds.
CM Punk flat out said it's like I feel the same way. I mean, him getting removed is like the first step to that. I just pray that it sticks. Like I'm just praying that they find out that he did use company money to pay that one. Like
That's and that just shows you that's kind of sad that so many people are just like, yo, we hope that you did what you're accused of. That way we can actually get some good wrestling again. That's just like that's how bad the product is now that people are actually hoping for this man's downfall. I mean, I'm not. I really hope. I really hope. No, I really do hope he didn't do all the shady shit. I hate to see crimes, but I just hope, like, at the age of 76, I believe he's 76.
Vince is 76 years old?
Yeah, Vince is 76 years old.
Damn.
Yes. So it's at that point where even his children, and I'm pretty sure they tried, I'm pretty sure everybody's tried it's time that you gotta step away. Like, it's just like, dude, you literally have no life. Like, you eat and breathe this for 40 plus years, man. Like 40 to 50 plus years. Like, your entire life has been professional wrestling. You have created a global conglomerate. Take a bow, pass it on to a successor, and enjoy the rest of your years. Like, and that's all I'm gonna say on the Vince McMahon topic, man. And on our last topic, Jarrell, I want to get your pick of who would you like to see as Money in the Bank, male and female.
I don't know who's in the bank. All the women aren't even picked yet. So women wise, so far it's Raquel Rodriguez Gonzalez. Shayna Baszler is not in it so far, which I think is complete BS. Who else is in it? Who's in it on Raw?
I can't remember.
I know that there's 4 girls, like Lacey Evans is in it, and Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss are in it. And nobody I like is in it yet. So I can't, like, Xia Li didn't make it, Shayna didn't make it. Like,
I personally would just give it to Liv Morgan. Just let her cash it in.
But see, here's the thing. Here's my problem with Liv Morgan. I would be okay with Liv Morgan getting Money in the Bank too, but not while Ronda Rousey and Bianca Belair are champion. Because I'm like, I can't see that.
I mean, they have a year, so it's not like she can. She's not like she can, like, she's gonna cash in immediately. But knowing Vince, probably will.
Vince is like, well, she's blonde and she looks like Alexa Bliss, who looks like Trish Stratus, who looks like Sable. Hey,
gets my juices running.
Yeah, let's sign this NDA, sister.
Women's wise, I need to see who all seven people are gonna be. But if I had to pick between the ones that they have so far, it would probably be Liv Morgan.
In the males, I'm gonna go with Drew's in it, right?
I have no idea.
I think Drew's in it. I'm not sure.
I think Drew and Sheamus is in it.
I would just give it to Drew McIntyre, but unless Bobby Lashley somehow qualifies eventually, or if he decides to go for it.
I don't think Lashley needs to qualify. First of all, if Drew McIntyre is fighting for the title at the UK show, he doesn't.
Why is he in Money in the Bank?
He doesn't need to be in Money in the Bank.
No. I mean, they already screwed the pooch by not putting AJ in there.
Yeah,
they made him face Seth Rollins. If anything, AJ and Seth should have been in the Money in the Bank.
Yep. Like, unless you're putting Lashley in the ring against Roman Reigns, like, I don't care. I'll watch SummerSlam for the Bianca match and the Lashley. Like, I'm gonna watch SummerSlam for Bianca and Lashley, and I'm probably gonna walk away from everything else.
Yeah,
because the product on SmackDown for me went down when Sasha and Naomi left.
Yeah,
and the people that they got left that I'm interested in aren't even getting pushed. I mean, I do like Walter, but who's gonna fight him? Like, this guy's like, as big as he is, you put the Intercontinental Championship on him, and he's like the biggest guy on the roster.
Yeah,
He's gonna hold that belt until he decides that Roman Reigns' time is done, and then he's gonna put Walter in the Roman spot.
Yeah, or unless the Bloodline decides they need more gold. Be like, you know what? Let's go get the other secondary titles too. But so this has been our wrap up show. So this has been our wrestling pod. We're running a little bit over a little bit over time. But we do have something cool coming to the channel, which is going to be for you 2K fans, me, Jarrell, William, Dez. We have all created our wrestlers, and we are going to be doing the UWL, the Universal Wrestling League, which will be every Saturday. It's called Saturday Night Slam. We do have a teaser trailer. I did put it up on the channel. I did put it on Imagine Visions. It's actually going to be premiering right after this. You'll see the trailer right after we sign off. You'll see the trailer. So we have some really cool wrestlers. Jarrell's. We put Tiger Blade in the trailer. I'm not sure if you saw it yet. We put Tiger Blade in the trailer, so it's going to be very, very fun.
Man. What happened to the icon?
Oh, dude, we can't show everybody yet. We didn't even show the whole roster. Like, I think we totaled it up like between your guys, my guys, Mendez, and William. So far, I think we're almost at 40 already. 40 to 50 wrestlers.
I don't even think you have all my guys.
No, like, but compared to mine, I think I got like already 25. Mendez, his wrestlers, Williams wrestlers, your wrestlers. We're gonna have a full roster that we might have to put another show like Raw and SmackDown. So I think it's UWL Uprising and then Saturday Night Slam. So Mendez is creating we're only doing 4 pay-per-views. We're doing 4 pay-per-view shows, and that's gonna be on Twitch live. So those will be the live shows we do. So the pay-per-view events will be live, like, you know, when we have the big payoff shows, that will be live on Twitch. So we're really excited. We're working. Should start in August. We're gonna start recording the matches and everything else later this, I think, next week, and then start broadcasting, you know, putting everything together. So the premiere will be in August every Saturday Night Slam. So I'll send you guys the pilot. Sean already showed you the pilot. Jarrell, I'm not sure if I sent you the concept of the pilot. So
but I saw the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. No one does 2K like us, and you're gonna definitely see why. So
it's just gonna be a lot of comedy and a lot of wrestling.
Yes, it is.
For the record, unlike Justin, my characters aren't all 99. So
no. Only Jay was 100 because he's been there since Warzone. So I only put one guy 100 because he's been there since PlayStation 1's Warzone, the first game we could actually create wrestlers, like the legacy characters. We put them at 100. Everybody else is like 90, 80. And I gotta send you the jobber I made, Kevin Smith, Hungry Kevin. You'll see. You'll see later. But folks, thank you for joining us. We will be back soon with the regular podcast. Nadia is on break, so we will be back, and we got a lot to talk about in the geek world as well. So we will be back soon with brand new episodes.
Like, we were all at Brooklyn Con. Like, go on our platforms, Red Eyes Entertainment on YouTube. Like, check out my Brooklyn Con footage. Check out Sean and Justin's Brooklyn Con footage. Like, That was actually really cool. And Nadia put it all together. So definitely for
definitely got to shout out Nadia for that. Yes, I had my first panel. You can see my first panel of grown-up anime, and then the second panel we're still editing, which will be me actually moderating the panel of breaking into comics. So that'll be up soon. So definitely check those out. And Justin saying later days, and Icon and Sean.
Peace.
Peace.